What's going on, y'all? This is Todd coming at you with another episode of Living Your Best Life. And of course, you already know, thank you so much for giving me some of your time this afternoon, this morning, this evening, tonight, whenever and wherever you are in the universe right now. But once again, thank you so much. Now, if you haven't already, please do like and also subscribe to the channel here. We'd love to get your support and kind of build this audience. But anyway, like I said, so much. Now, you know what we do on the show. We invite professionals on to talk about what they do and how what they do is contributing to a healthier society, a better society, a wealthier society, you name it. We need it. A lot of chaos in the world right now, and we need as much positive information as we can get. And I want to be that person to actually provide some of this positive energy to the world. And as we're speaking about energy, we have an awesome guest on today to talk about energy, such as the Reiki practice, but also we're going to be talking about the chakra systems, and we're going to be talking about something I've never spoken about before or never had a conversation about before. And that's someone who reads tarot cards, and very interesting conversation. And this is something that I wanted to bring to the conversation today, because these are things that, hey, we're more complex than we give ourselves, than we think we are, or than we know ourselves to be, rather. And we have many levels to our makeup when it comes to being a human being. And it's not just all surfacing. Some people are out there, they're really deep thinkers. Some people that are out there, they're really searching for this inner work that we really have to do to be happier, to be more spiritual, to connect with God, to connect with the source, or whatever you might want to call it. And I'm not one to limit those conversations. I want to expand those conversations. I want to open those conversations, because we do, I think and feel that we need to have these kinds of conversations. But anyway, everyone, we have Shelly Harris that's going to be coming onto this show. And she's going to talk about what she does in her business and how she is making the world a better place and helping people live their best lives. So anyway, like I said, everyone, it's going to be an interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with her. And I know that you're going to get some knowledge, but neither here nor there. If her conversation, her business does attract you and appeal to you, definitely get in contact with her. That's why we're bringing her onto the show, and that's why we bring all the professionals onto the show, to bring them so you can connect with them. So anyway, everyone, that's that. But as always, you know what we do. We are helping people live their best lives through, let me back it up. We're helping them live their best lives, especially after the age of 50, right? Because we have the reset challenge that's going on right now, the Well Beyond 50 Reset Challenge. So get in on that. Before we start that up in July, we have some webinars, a series of webinars that are going to give you some more detail in what that reset challenge is all about. So you make sure that you attend the webinars to get all the information that you need to, of course, get, in on the challenge. But of course, to help you live your best life, especially well beyond 50, and stay well beyond 50. So that's it, everybody. Shelly Harris is coming up on the other side of the commercial, and I'll see you in a couple minutes, or a minute, or 30 seconds, whichever one. All right, y'all, be good. Take care now. Bye-bye. So welcome back, everybody, to the show on Living Your Best Life. And listen, the Well Beyond 50 Reset Challenge webinar, I want you guys to get on that webinar, right? So we can find out what's going on with that challenge. If you are well beyond 50, or you want to get well beyond 50, or even stay well beyond 50, this challenge you want to get on. All right, so check out the webinar. It's going to be happening over the next few weeks, and I think I have the start date for the challenge sometime maybe either towards late June or early July. So I just want to put that out there right now to everyone. But anyway, enough about me. We're going to get on to this awesome young lady here coming in from Arizona. Listen, I met up with her, of course, on social media. That's how we do things nowadays. And had an interesting conversation with her. And I'm always really, really intrigued how people, when their lives where they are and how they're helping people live their best lives. Of course, what we do on the show here, we talk to individuals that are from the area of health and wellness and things like that, in the financial space or what have you. But every once in a while, I have some shining star that comes through and says, listen, I have something that I want to share, with you that is off the beaten path. And that's when Shelly came to me. And I really wanted her to kind of like come on to the show to share with us what she does. Now, of course, you've heard of these of what she's done, her business, but it's always about a different perspective, and I really enjoy her perspective on things. So, Shelly, Gypsy, what's your website again? Your name of your company?
So my company is Gypsy Wingz, and
Gypsy
I've had
Wingz.
it about since 2019.
Gotcha,
I
gotcha.
was born.
Awesome, awesome. So, welcome to the show, Shelly, and thank you so much for coming on this afternoon.
Thank you. This is exciting. I was looking forward to this and looking forward to talking to you since we've been talking for a while now. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna be great.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I look forward to having you share some of your knowledge and your expertise with my audience, as we need to know some. We live in a world right now where we are just so maxed out when it comes to information, just overwhelmed, and to say the least. And I think what you do can help alleviate some of what that overwhelm is. And but if you don't mind, right quick, Shelly, just kind of like give us an idea of who you are and what you do.
Okay. So I come from a fitness, exercise, personal training, yoga teacher background. I've been doing that for well over 20 years. And that's how I found, where I'm at today. And right now, today, I'm a Reiki practitioner. I've done all 3 levels of Reiki, so I'm a Reiki master. And that's what I offer virtually as well as here in Tucson, Arizona in person. And I also am a tarot reader. I've been doing tarot for many, many, many years and just really dived into that over the course of time to where I saw it being so beneficial to people to give them some clarity, some perspective. So I offer tarot readings and chakra readings as well as chakra balancing sessions. Working through yoga, I really, discovered the value, the importance of understanding how our chakra system works and how much we can learn so much about ourselves if we could just understand that more. So I offer all these sessions to help people because of the world being so crazy and overstimulated. We need to find some balance.
Yeah. Well, you've touched on some really interesting points here because I've always been a person of exploration. I love learning about different things and different approaches in terms of how do we get well. That's one thing, and also become more fulfilled in life. Because I think we're given a certain path, but that path is not for everyone. And a lot of people on a certain path probably aren't as fulfilled as they think they are or might or feel as though they are. But I really want to touch on and speak about first is what a lot of us have heard of, but a lot of us haven't, and that's chakras. Because I think that's really an interesting practice and approach to understanding the self. And if you don't mind kind of like breaking down what the system is and how that affects us as human beings on this planet.
Yeah, so it's an energy system where the chakra translates to wheel or disc. So if you can kind of visualize like a vortex, a ball of light, and it's energy in each of the chakras. And we work with 7 main chakras, even though we have hundreds of chakras within us, which are energy points, or somebody would call them, I guess you could say energy points would be the easiest way to translate that. And we work with the 7 main energy points within us. So in a chakra balancing, or if somebody just wants to understand themselves better, they could start learning about the 7 main chakras. And each one of them governs a different aspect of who we are. And they can be lacking in energy flow, or they can be excessively flowing, where that is an imbalance. What we're really
Mhm.
trying to optimize is balancing out or being closer to center, you might not be perfectly balanced. That's not a realistic expectation all the time, but we want to be closer to being more harmonious in our energy flow than further and further away. Because as we become more and more out of balance, then that leads to dis-ease in our body, which will then eventually manifest to really hindering the overall quality of our life, whether it's on a physical level, spiritual level, mental, or emotional level. But it will interfere with living our best life.
Wow. So you said seven centers for the most part, right? And not for the most part, but seven centers. Now, is there a hierarchy? That's kind of like what I've always been confused about. Is there a hierarchy? Meaning, so from what I understand, and this is coming from my limited knowledge of the chakra system, at the base, that's I guess your either your root or your ground
The root
or something.
chakra. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when that is out of balance, or when that becomes balanced, is there a way to get to the top chakra, the crown chakra?
Well, I mean, my personal, like, I guess the way I see it is it's not about getting, it's not like a pecking
Yeah.
order, I guess you
Yeah.
can say,
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
No, but I think what happens is that we get, of course, we are human and we do live in a physical earthly existence. So
Yeah.
we have to give credit and value and benefit to all that versus trying to not recognize that we're physical and only trying to evolve to a higher conscience or a higher realm. I mean, I
Hmm.
think it's personally, I think we have to recognize that we're both, that when we do leave this planet, everyone's going to have a different answer to what happens to us. But from my point of view and my belief is that when we do leave this planet, yes, we could have many, many lives ahead of us and prior to us, but there's an energy and we become energy. And that's
Hmm.
where that lightness, that's why we can't like hold air, see air, because it's a lighter energy versus the physical world is a lot denser. So we can hold it, touch it, and see it. And the idea is that to recognize that we are both, physical and spiritual, and to understand all of the energy points and how do we balance out each one individually, but then as a whole. And that
Hmm.
takes time. It takes a lot of due diligence, a lot of work. There's many ways to work on balancing them, but sometimes we don't even recognize especially if we don't have any knowledge of them and recognize that
Yeah.
they exist. How do we even understand, that, I'm just trying, like your root chakra, for example, if you're feeling like stuck in life, it could be a temporary pause in your life and you're just feeling stuck. But if you really don't work on that, that can really lead to depression. It can lead to,
Hmm.
really serious things on a mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual level. So the root chakra could also feel like you're uprooted and you're not settled. And somebody who's really lost and can't get their feet anchored, can't get their energy anchored, that can lead to a whole problem. Like I said, it hinders like the quality of your life and not feeling safe, not feeling secure, not feeling stable.
Hmm.
So that's as important as the crown chakra, where that's really this conscious of the all-knowing. Like, and I really see it as like trusting in that energy that's greater than ourselves. And
Hmm.
everyone will have different answer to what that means, but there is something greater than us that we have to lean into and trust and connect to. And that can be its own challenge on its own, never mind trying to get your feet anchored and get your physical world, settled and secure. So you can see where, and then we have all the ones in between. So it's
Right.
really the whole, the whole.
Okay. Yeah, because typical either I'm always we're caught up into a doing and striving and striving and striving. And my wife and I, we often speak about just being and understanding that space and being okay in that space of being. Um, so we do have access to all our chakra systems at all times.
Mhm. We do, because they're part of who we are. Like everything that we do and how we interact in life will be reflected in the different chakras.
Okay.
So like you have your first one is your root, so that's your physical material world. So how to
Right.
think about how you feel. Are you feeling safe, secure, stable? And
Hmm.
that isn't just, it can be in different pieces of your life. Like you might say, career-wise, I feel solid, but my finances or my health or my relationships, I'm not feeling as solid. So it's really looking at the whole physical everyday part of your life and breaking that down and saying, how am I doing in all these different pieces of me? Who makes me me on a day-to-day basis? And that
Mhm.
is how you really address your root chakra. Your second
Gotcha.
chakra would be your creative energy, your emotional energy. And so if you think about that, everybody can say, are we living in anger and resentment and things that don't serve us? But then
Hmm.
we have to be real, is like those things are part of who we are. It's the difference is moving through that versus being stuck and living in that doesn't serve us in a way that we are healthy.
Right. This is also interesting because it's a very I don't want to say complex, but you have to really be into it to kind of like understand it. Me myself, like I said, I love learning about things, but um, in a world of distraction, constantly, you know, uh, you delve into something, you learn about something, and then it's out the window the next day. And but when it comes to things like developing or understanding how the chakra system works within our bodies. And I guess what my main thing has always been, can A, do I have access to them? B, like I was saying earlier, me thinking that there was, an elevation of the Kundalini, if that's the correct term. So from what I understand from the Kundalini rising, is that you're once it's this kundalini rises, you become more aware or more conscious or human being. So is that anywhere near truth?
I believe so. I think it's an awakening. I think it's
Okay.
something that we have to work on. I mean, it's not that it's not going to come to us and
Right,
magically,
right, right.
awaken and but it's work and either we're conscious of it and we make the effort to do the work, or we may not know anything until something's really wrong. And then we have to start figuring out how to get back on track. When something
Mhm.
gets so broken, then we start doing work. And then hopefully through that, again, somebody still may have no idea about the chakras. It would help
Right.
them and serve them, but they may just not be in a place that they've ever learned that or been exposed to the understanding. But that doesn't mean it's not working. They're doing
Mhm.
their work, and through that process, they're awakening their energy, they're opening their mind, they're starting to,
Okay.
gain perspective and all of this other stuff. So they can still be doing it. They just may not have any idea that
That they're doing it.
they're doing it in the way where the chakras are part of this whole thing.
Yes, very subtle. And so that's I never realized that we are probably, if we become just aware of where we are, uh, either in our lives, in particularly just speaking about the root chakra, whether we're experiencing some pain points and we become aware that we have to go to work and come up with a different approach. So in that approach, we may be doing healing or doing work in that or on that chakra, is what you're saying.
Exactly. And
Wow.
again, you may not know that you're actually working on the chakra itself because you may not have that awareness, but you're working on that area that is not balanced, and it's broken enough that you need to do something in order to start healing and to start, again, living your best life, right? Being your
Yeah,
happiest, your
yeah,
healthiest.
yeah, yeah. So tell us, Shelly, uh, what led you to 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 this type of an approach, and actually a practice that you do, that you're helping people, a service? Because we're going to get around to it now, because I want to, speak with you about your Reiki practice and also something else that I've never had any conversation with anyone about, and that's tarot card reading. So what's led you down this route in life versus anywhere else that you could have chosen to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. I think being a yoga teacher and teaching and all the training and the learning that you're exposed to as a yoga teacher, that's really where this all started. I mean, it made sense to me.
Hmm.
And, as a fitness instructor, personal trainer, you're out there helping people be healthy,
Mhm.
in that way. And I enjoyed that very much because that's what I do. That's who I am. Like I enjoyed it myself, and it was great to be able to help others do the same thing. And then it's all the training through yoga. It just resonated with me. And when you start seeing people, sure, they're putting all their energy into their physical workouts and just, hours, and myself included, hours and hours in the gym and doing all these things. But if you're not also energetically healthy, it's only part of the whole, and
Mhm.
I don't see a lot of people, long-term success when they get on these, in these fitness programs. It's always like they do really well and then
Yeah.
they hit some type of, I always call it like a pothole, and it's hard for them to get back on track. But it's not just the physical, it's because there are other areas of their life, their spiritual, mental, and emotional, are probably not being addressed. And if
Mhm.
you start feeling better in those ways, the physical too is also, you need both. And that's what I really recognized through all my years of teaching classes and one-on-one sessions. And the yoga, it just made, like, you just have that, like, it makes so much sense. And then somebody introduced me to Reiki, and that's how I
Mhm.
got into that. And I was like, wow, this is like so doable for everybody. Like you don't need equipment. You just need the belief and the desire to heal. And we all have the power, our own ability to heal. I'm, attuned through a Reiki master. So I just tell people, just see it as like I have a more amplified ability to help someone else, but
Mhm.
each person can help their own selves. And I'm here to help you understand that, and offer you a session that you can just really lie there and just soak in the energy. Because some people would prefer it that way than knowing that, hey, you can just sit and offer your own self Reiki, but sometimes having somebody facilitate gives it that much more of a heightened experience, and they have somebody to talk with and really work through some of the things that they're going through. Um,
Wow.
I really blame the yoga on all
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Maybe yoga. Do you still teach yoga now, or?
Yeah, a little bit, not as much as I used to. I just, where I was teaching, that was all I did. I mean, it was just, that's
Mhm.
all I did.
Mhm.
And now I've just shifted my focus to more,
Okay.
just in just where I'm at, just.
Yeah, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So we brought up Reiki, and I want everyone to kind of like get an understanding of what Reiki is and how it benefits and how it can benefit uh, us as people, individuals, humans, that whole thing. So break down what Reiki is, because that's always an interesting one too.
Yeah, so I'm trained under what they call the Usui method. It's a Japanese method that's been around
Mhm.
for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Wow.
And it's really about channeling energy from spirit. So a lot of people think that, oh, it's coming from me, and it's not. I'm the conduit, I'm the channeler. And if one was to do their own Reiki, it would be the same idea. It's not coming from you, it's coming from spirit. You're channeling this healing energy that we breathe in all the time, that we just don't see it in that way. So intention is the biggest ingredient in the recipe of healing. Is if you
Wow.
set your intention, you're going to align to drawing in that energy of healing or whatever your intention is. I need peace, I need focus, I need clarity, it can be, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's really, and it's a hands-on or hands-off. It's, you lie on a massage table, you can lie on your bed, you can lie in a recliner. It just depends on you and the practitioner, how you're setting up the space. And it's light touch to no touch. And it's a
Mhm.
channeling of energy from spirit into the client, and trusting that the Reiki will go where Reiki is needed, because we don't
Mhm.
always know what's wrong with us. We just know we're not well. And we
Right.
trust that, just let that wash through you in the course of that session, and trust that it's working even when the session is over. And that's just I know it's a hard belief for some people to really believe in that, but that's where it starts, is in that belief, is just trust it.
Trust.
And it's not going to hurt you. It's not invasive. It cannot do any harm. So it's just, I recognize the beauty of how we really have the power to heal. And as a Reiki practitioner, I can also help others that are just lost and not sure how to help themselves.
Yeah. Interesting. Because when it comes to what you do, I understand Reiki as, I've seen it as being kind of like a touch thing. So what's really kind of new to me is working with someone that lives where I live in the Carolinas versus where you live in Arizona. So you can actually, I can be a student of yours, or I can be a client of yours, in other words.
So the distance healing, that's what
Okay.
it's
So
called. Yeah.
how does that work other than a guided, voice through whatever? Because and what would be the difference between that and maybe hypnotherapy? Something like that, if there's a difference.
Well, I think with the goal of it is, to not understand that energy doesn't need, it's not like, because we're so, as a human, we have these beliefs that we have to be, either in person or, I mean, what did we do before computers and before cell phones?
Yeah.
And just go back, but if you're sending energy, and we all do it to each other, we send, I always say we send texts, I love you, I can't wait to see you, I hope all is well with you, you're in my prayers and thoughts. We send emails, and that it's that energy, if you're doing it without, you're just putting it down just for the sake of writing those words, that's not an energy that's going to go anywhere. But if you're really
Hmm.
gaining that energy, that's the idea, is that energy travels and it doesn't have boundaries. It doesn't have barriers of walls and,
Mm.
we need to see each other. It's, you have to trust that we are all energy and this whole planet is energy. And what we put out there is going to travel. And that's why
Hmm.
you decide to feed the good or feed what we'll call the bad. And
Yeah.
through Reiki, it's all about feeding, the white light, feeding the good energy and distance healing. I mean, we don't even have to see each other. I can be sending you Reiki just by, sending it to you, and you don't even have to be watching me. You can just be
Right.
lying there or going about your day. And it's hard, it's a hard sell. It's sometimes hard to put it into words because
Hmm.
especially if you're
Hmm.
skeptical. But even if you did a virtual meditation with someone, there is an energy exchange and it works, and you'll have the same results. You'll have peace, you'll have some clarity, you'll find this place of relaxation. Reiki is a lot of that. It's its own meditation for people,
Yeah.
brings a lot of, you get to deflate and unwind. But you've just got to trust that energy is what we all are, and we do not need a camera. We do not need to be in person to allow this energy to travel to one another.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Because like I said, I've always seen it as one thing, and but to know that and how you break it down with regards to energy, and it has no barriers and has no walls. It can travel through whatever, however means, by any means necessary. So that's pretty cool. So a person would come to you because for Reiki, because they are looking for what again?
They're looking for maybe some peace, they're highly stressed, so they really need to de-stress. They deal with anxiety, they're working on trying to lessen their anxiety. The mind is overwhelmed, they're busy, the monkey mind, we call it. They're trying to calm their mind, quiet their mind more, gain some clarity. Reiki will lower blood pressure. Reiki can help ease pain. It may not, I always tell people we're not looking to, I'm not looking to tell people that this is going to be the cure all. It's a
Hmm.
complementary therapy. So you
Hmm.
still may need to see a doctor depending on what
Hmm.
you're working with and what's happening in your, because at some point there might be, it's gotten to that level of, yeah, you still need surgery. You still need to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
It's very possible, but Reiki is meant to complement that. So hopefully you won't need the doctor. You won't need to be on all the medications. It depends on your due diligence. It depends on your intentions, how much you're putting in. It's not a one session and it's going to be a cure all. It's a constant,
Yeah.
daily work in some way. So Reiki, again, is meant to complement all of this with the intention, of course, to get you to a place that you're healthier. And
Right.
it's all relative to what the person is, going through and what they're working on. But the mind, the body becoming more spiritually connected. Reiki will help promote all of that.
Well, it's it's a it's about self-work.
Yeah.
And um I guess, the sad part about it, Shelly, as I observe, us in the world today is that most of us are looking for a quick fix, and we're looking for a quick answer to our problems and a quick fix. Um, we don't want to really spend too much time doing the work, especially when we have to face ourselves, and that we are a lot of times um, uh, the foundation for a lot of our problems. Yeah, and so it's that matter of like, wait a minute, maybe it's me.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm going through all of what I'm going through because it's no matter where I go, there I am. And as I always like to say, because like I said, it just sounds like it is some work to, with regards to Reiki and also just balancing the chakras and all of those things. It sounds like there is some self-work to do for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's the same as like when you go to a personal trainer, or you go to the gym, you go to a yoga
Hmm.
class, we're willing to put that work in.
Yeah,
We show up, right? And we do something
yeah,
over there,
yeah,
and we do it pretty regularly, most likely through each week. We make it part of our weekly routine. But then when it
yeah.
comes to some of the other stuff, because it's not instant gratification, you walk
It's
out of
not
the
instant
class,
gratification.
you feel
Hmm.
sweat, you feel sore, you feel
Hmm.
pumped up, but how long does that last? I mean, you can't just
Yeah,
go once and you're good for life.
yeah,
So it's the same with the Reiki, same with any type of energy modality. I mean, there's so many. It's
yeah,
not that Reiki is the only way. That's the way I resonate and the way I saw, like, what a great path to offering and sharing that with others. But there's so many ways. But it's got to be that kind of work. Just like when you get up, you get dressed every day. It's just got to be part of that. And it's
yeah,
hard because you do have to face some hard, truths
yeah,
about yourself.
yeah. And some of one of the easiest things to do, I think, is to slow down sometimes and breathe. But how often do we do that? How often do we think about doing that? One of the easiest things to do is to start out every day with, 5 minutes meditation, 5 minutes of meditation. But that, we're so quick right now just to get up and go, that we don't have 5 minutes, or we feel we don't have 5 minutes to quiet the mind. And I'm not speaking from some high pedestal here, because I'm guilty of I'm one of those people who feel as though I don't have time for 5 minutes of meditation. And and that's sad to say. Uh, but I think about it, you know.
Yeah. I think it's hard too. I mean, as much as I, do all of this, it's like it takes me too. Like I've got to stop and do the same thing and remind my own self, because we
Yeah,
get caught up in the chores, the routine, whatever that
yeah,
means for the person. And those are kind of like what's really right there in front of one's face. And that five
yeah.
minutes of stopping is 5 minutes of less going, but it's all perspective and mindset. It's like, well, that might help you go longer and go better if
Hmm.
you stop,
Hmm.
but it's hard. It's hard to shift that when you just get so caught up in this really overstimulated world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So moving on, because another one of your approaches and expertise is tarot card reading.
Yeah.
Because this one is, like I said, I've never spoken with anyone that reads tarot cards and that whole thing. So I'm really intrigued with that one, and from not only where you can help people, but also from the pushback that I'm assuming that this is such an off the chart kind of modality and practice, that who's looking for the tarot card reader has always been that person, like, oh no. So how did you get into that part too? I know I can blame it on yoga,
No, I'm
but
not gonna blame that one on yoga. No, I'm gonna blame that one on, I don't know, like when I was little, I just loved all of that mystical,
yeah, yeah,
mysterious, I
yeah,
would lay and
yeah.
just look at the stars and awe and the moon and,
Do you still do
and
that today?
did I what?
You still do that today?
Yes. I love it. I
Yeah.
couldn't stop looking at the moon last night. It was just
Wow.
like, it was absolutely breathtaking. And
Yeah.
it's just such a mystery in so many ways.
Yeah.
And I just, I don't know, it resonates when it resonates. And the
Yeah.
tarot, I think when I was little, you see it in the movies and it has just this kind of out of the box mystery. It's so not conventional and it's not in
Yeah.
line with the norm. So of course that always was like an intrigue to me. And so yeah, so I would just play around with the cards and I'd always be picking angel cards or tarot cards or what do you call them, affirmation cards. And it was just
Hmm.
always like so spot on, like, and then the more you do that, the more you align with this stuff. And then one day it was just like, why am I not, again, why not do this and show other people some insight and perspective in a way that I think, I mean, to this day, people are like so in awe when they see the cards and how it resonates for them. And it just gives so much perspective and clarity. It doesn't tell you what to do, but it gives you a lot of understanding on what you need to do. And I tell everybody, you already knew this. The cards will
Hmm.
just pull out where you're confused, denial, so overstimulated, you can't make sense of anything. And the cards will
Hmm.
help that. And then you'll know that you kind of already knew, but you were just
Hmm.
so overwhelmed you couldn't find that yourself. And
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Well, for those that are 50 and beyond, like I was saying earlier, you probably maybe saw the movie back in the day, the James Bond movie, and I think I shared this with you one time before. This is with Roger Moore, and so he was off somewhere like in Haiti and on these islands that practice these types of things like tarot cards. And there was this woman who was this tarot card reader, and she was mysterious, and she had all these. And so it just came with this whole intrigue and this whole mystique about it, borderline, uh, for lack of a better expression. This particular woman in the movie was borderline like the witch and like a witch. And so she was protected, but at the same time, too, she was a threat to society
Right.
and to that community. And so henceforth, it gives the whole tarot card reading thing this sinful kind of thing. And do you get pushback from people? Have you gotten pushback from people in
Yeah,
your past?
not in a way that's been overly like mean or negative towards me, but I've met a lot of people that I can see they maybe want to have a tarot reading or they're curious, but
Right,
their belief system doesn't accept that or allow that. And I don't believe that tarot, just like anything, is for everybody. And I think if
right,
that's your belief, you stick to your beliefs and you lean into your belief system truly for what that is for you, and you're going to be okay because that's another avenue and tarot just doesn't fit that. But then there's those who believe that the tarot's dark, evil, black magic, voodoo, and the
yeah,
movies made it that way.
yeah,
They haven't helped, let's put it that way. And yes, there's
right,
people out there that will read and really welcome, bring on, channel, set the vibe up to be very dark and scary in that way for people, but it's not the way, it's a way. And honestly, you have to kind of figure out what your way is. And if you
right,
are, if you were a witch or pagan or you practiced, I don't know, defend, I'm gonna try and think of some other ones, you have to go with that. And that's a way. It's not the
yeah,
only way. I just personally, as a reader, believe in using it to help make our lives better. I don't channel dark. I don't believe, I'm not a witch. I don't practice that. I, I practice kind of a spiritual energy. I think it's
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
But I believe like the tarot can help you really make better decisions and help you with your life. Sometimes it's just really validating and confirming, and that helps people out so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pushback can be there. I mean, but I just don't believe it's for everybody, and that's just kind of my attitude. Like, well, it's just not meant
Awesome.
for you. It's okay.
Yeah. Awesome. And that's really the way that you have to look at it. And me myself, I've been, like I said earlier, often intrigued by these paths and the alternative ways of spiritual wellness and awareness. I think I shared with you before, when you had the pendulum thing, and and because I had done that years ago, and that was just fascinating to me, and just seeing how the power of mind can move us pendulum, right, left, whichever direction. And so I just found that to be really, really, interesting and very powerful. So, like I said, I've always been into the alternative paths of spiritual wellness and awareness. Now, question right quick, were you ever, because like I was saying, that was my path. Were you ever a traditional, like you said, I know that you were, as a kid, you were intrigued by, but were you ever more a traditional type of person where, you went to church every Sunday and that whole thing?
Oh yeah, where I was raised, the way I was brought up was that's what you did. I mean, I
Yeah,
went to Catholic school for 8 years. I went to church with my family every Sunday. It's just what you did. And but honestly, it just never really resonated with me. I mean,
yeah,
it's not that
yeah.
I didn't do it all, but when you really think about just making it part of who you are, I just never connected to that. I just didn't make sense in a lot of ways. But yeah, I was raised that way. And but the whole time I still resonated with more of a, like I said, I'd lay under the sky and look at the stars
Hmm.
or watch the sun and the clouds and the moon, whatever, and
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
made so much sense, even though it didn't, make sense, but it did.
yeah,
So
yeah. And
cool.
I'm the same way. My wife and I, and we will. She'll wake up and sometimes, and if there's some kind of an event happening in the skies, she'll like, you gotta wake me up at a certain time so I can, go out and see the stars. So she's really intrigued by that, and I've always been intrigued by it because I'm always just so amazed at how this whole system of this thing called life is arranged. If you're looking at this, if you're looking at us, I mean, it was one night we went out, we saw like, we were looking at like Saturn. And uh, and if you know anything about Saturn, or one of the largest, I think Jupiter is one of the larger planets in our system. And we saw that one night, and it was like this little peep of a little white thing in the sky. And it's like, can you imagine how far away that is?
Right.
And so that's always just been so so amazing. It's like, wow, this thing is really, really uh it or really big. And I'm gonna
Yeah,
go with
to
it.
see it up close, that would be so awesome. Like if you could
I
really
know.
teleport up there, travel with no
I
problem.
know, right? Really. It really.
Yeah. And to just really see the ring around Saturn, but like if you could just really see it like up close and personal,
But
oh my
what
God.
it looks like, yeah, but really what it looks like, if we could just jump from planet to planet to planet to where we have that like different perspective and different view, that would be absolutely amazing. Do you believe in things like astral travel and things of that nature? And
I do, I mean, I haven't experienced it, but I
Mhm.
absolutely believe that it's a possibility. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
really close to anything. I just think that, I haven't experienced certain things, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist,
right,
and
exactly,
who am I to say it does or doesn't? I mean,
right.
it's like anything. If it's hurting someone, that's a different story. But otherwise, I mean, I would love to be able to teleport and make my life so much easier if I could just teleport in all these
Get out of
different
here every
places.
once in a while.
But yeah, I believe in all of that. It's very
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah, I when I was learning about astral travel, I think his name was Robert Monroe. I think he started a thing somewhere in Virginia here. He was one of the first ones that actually explored astral travel, and I was really intrigued by that because, like you say, just imagine if you could just, hey, I'm just gonna just see another part of the city or see some, I'm gonna travel else. So I always was really intriguing. If that is like I said, if that's possible, if we have the ability to do that, then we're definitely more powerful than we give ourselves credit.
Yeah, I agree. So agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Shelly, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes. I truly, truly enjoyed your time and just, sharing a little bit about what you do with regards to Reiki and your yoga travel to Reiki and now your tarot card readings. I really want to learn more about that because, like you said, it's something that just being able to get that confirmation, something that you already know, but it's like, okay, yeah, you
yeah,
know,
thank you for having me. It's really I want to be able to, share this with people and show them that, that it's not something to be scared of. It's,
you know,
and again, everyone's different, but that's how I, want to, share it with everybody to help to promote a place that they can be in a better place health wise. Energetic bodies can be healthier and tarot doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have
yeah.
to be dark. It can be so validating and helpful. So yeah, thanks for letting me, tell people about this. Just kind of get the word out. And if you ever want to do a reading, we can do one. So
Oh
that'll be
man.
fun.
And that's the thing. I have to like, because I'm like sitting here thinking like, say, man, I would love to possibly do one, but I'm scared. And so, but
And
that's
that's
just,
so
yeah,
common. Like that is
yeah,
what people say. They're scared of what they're going to find out. But
right.
the question would be, what is it you're scared of? Like dive into that. Like think
Yeah,
about what are you truly scared of and have that like reflect on that for a while. Like what are you scared of? What do you think it's going to tell you?
that's crazy. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna
So
have to dive into that and just kind of like, get that courage.
yeah, yeah, and just but think about why you're scared. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think? Because some people don't realize it. They're like, well, I don't want to know when I'm going to die. That has nothing to. That is not even.
I think
That's
that's
not
probably the biggest, that's like the card that we don't want to be pulled, right?
right. But that's the card that people misunderstand, and it's actually a card that is. It is actually a really profound card to get the death card. It is
Hmm.
really all about rebirth. It's not about us physically dying and giving us an expiration date. It's about rebirth while we're alive. What are we letting go of? What are we transforming? What are we,
Oh,
it's this whole thing like Scorpio moon right now. That's what that's all about. Letting go, transformation, birth, death, rebirth. So it's more about that than the actual like physical
that's cool.
expiration date.
But in the 007 movie that I watched, it was about that, and that's what's so
Yeah, we're not going to find out that. That's not happening. Yeah. So that takes hopefully that off your list. So yeah, dive
yeah,
into what you're scared
whew.
of.
Because when that card came up in the movie, it was like the haunting music, dun, and it was like, oh God, so it just rings everything when it comes to just like just being scared of that one card, pulling that one card. So, but I look forward to exploring and possibly even just doing a reading one of these days, just
Yeah,
to
let me know. That'd be so awesome.
yeah.
I'd love to show you how validating and helpful it can be. Just
Yeah,
really helpful.
good deal, good deal, good deal, good stuff. So, where can we find you once again, Shelly?
You can find me on Instagram at Gypsy Wingz, and it's GYPSYWINGZ. And I
Mhm.
have my link and everything there. And I can send you my website link and all that if you want it to share it with everybody.
Awesome. Well, anyway, everyone is down at the bottom here. So I just wanted to just make sure that you guys heard it from her. And but listen, get in contact with Shelly Harris. Okay, she's someone out here that has been helping people live their best lives for years. Okay, through yoga. Okay, starting out, and now she's helping people just get to a better lives through understanding who they are. And so this all comes with some inner work. Just realize that everybody, this is not just something that's overnight. You just gonna wake up in the next morning and you're gonna be this new person. No, you will have to do some work. It didn't take us years. It didn't take us overnight to become, as messy as we can be. So it's going to take some time to undo some of the challenges that we do face now. So, but like I said, get in contact with Shelly because, like I said, she has a heart of gold, as you can see, just a passionate person and compassionate person. So get in contact with her. But once again, Shelly, thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. I really appreciate this, and I look forward to talking with you more. Yeah, let's keep it
Yes,
going.
please
Yeah.
do. So everyone, once again, get in contact with her and thank you for hanging out with me for another episode of Living Your Best Life. Y'all take care. Be good. Peace.